Hello everyone, I'm Alan, also known as McLaren 2009, and today I'm going to be giving you a system overview of my secure voice encrypted radio. This is a showcase of all of my radio-based equipment that I've made in Stormworks. The link for it will be in the description. Right here, you have a radio that's designed to work with a normal 9-frequency handheld radio. Turn on the backlight, put it to channel 3, go to my little radio, key the mic, and lo and behold, you receive a signal. Well, what if you wanted to hide the signal and you didn't want anyone to know what frequency you were actually on? You could start by switching to this radio, which instead of having 8 frequencies, this one has 100, ranging from 0 to 99. And like I said, it still works with the handheld radio as long as you use frequencies 0 through 8. But that still isn't secure. That brings us to this radio. This one I've labeled it as my secure voice radio because what this system does, it takes the chosen radio frequency and it masks it. Alright, just like we've done with all the other ones, let's turn these back on, and you can see they are all set to channel 3. I key the microphone, and every single one registers a received signal. Now, just to make sure that this radio works, if we press this, and I press, I think this, yeah. Okay, I am keying this radio and activating my in-game microphone, and you can see that this radio is receiving a signal. I release the buttons, no signals being received. Now, what this does is there are 9 encryption keys. Basically what that means is I have 9 tables of values that break this decoded frequency down into individual values and replaces those numbers with another number. Pretty much all of them replace a 1-digit value with a 2-digit value, and it takes this decoded frequency and makes it something else. So you replace the 0 and the 3 with a number from the table. You multiply this coded number by 10, this coded number by 1, and then you add them together to get this value. So, as you can see, the decoded frequency is set to 3, but the key setting is currently at 1. This means that the system is currently encrypted. The frequency is masked. So, as you can see, this says it's still on 3. My handheld radio is still on 3, so I should be able to click this button and I should hear something. But I can't. Because you'll notice up here that this is its true operating frequency, not this. Now, when you actually set up this system to use it, you would not, under any circumstances, include this display. This was just so that I could test to make sure that my system is working. So, if somebody comes upon this system and they don't have this exact same radio set up to this exact same key setting. Let's change it all the way up to 9. If you don't have this exact radio on this exact key setting, you won't be able to figure out what frequency this is currently on. So you'll think it's set to frequency 16 because that is, as shown, the decoded frequency. So we'll set this up to 16. Press that, and you'll notice that on channel 16, it's not getting a response, because this looks like it's on channel 16, but really it's on channel 2100. Now, this doesn't just have to be applied to voice radio communications. You can use a similar encryption system on transmitting data, for example. I'm actually working on making another substitution cipher specifically to encrypt data. So basically it takes one number, substitutes it with another, and it outputs the substituted number instead of the input number. Thus, a one-for-one substitution. Now, my system has an added layer of security because it doesn't just take, say, the number 16 and just replace 16. It's replacing the 1 and the 6, multiplying the substituted value for the 1 by 10 and the substituted value for the 6 by 1, adding the two together and producing this. All 9 tables have their own numbers, and no values are repeated at any point in any of the tables. So there is virtually no chance of accidentally duplicating frequencies on another key setting. Basically, it just masks the frequency by substituting the individual numbers with another number, and the system is secure by the fact that no one but the computer actually knows what the frequency is. In theory, you could scan frequencies until you detect an active signal on that frequency, but ideally you would have to scan through 10,000 frequencies in order to find the one that's currently active. Realistically, it doesn't have 10,000 frequencies. I think the highest value in the system is like 3,000, and that might have even been a fluke. And then the good thing about using an audio, like radio transmitter, is it's only active when you press the push-to-talk button. So 99% of the time, it's not transmitting anything at all. So scanning frequencies would probably be a little bit less effective with a radio. If you're using it to encrypt one of these systems, they have the transmitter always active, so frequency scanning would definitely work to find those. But even then, scanning the frequency, you find out what's on that frequency. Now, you could jam the data being transmitted by spamming arbitrary numbers on that chosen frequency, and it would throw off any of these computers. But if you actually want to intercept and use that information, you would have to have the key to decrypt the data. The same thing goes for this. If you want to actually listen to the conversation being used, you would actually have to be on the proper frequency, so you would have to have the properly coded and compatible radio system in order to know what frequency it's even on. Unless, of course, the person who built it is doing the same thing that I did for my display here, and they put the output frequency, in which case the encryption system is worthless. But, as you can see, 9 different encryption key or crypto keys. This little blue light right here tells you that the key is active. Basically, this was another thing that I added just to fill space. Basically, this light's illuminated for anything greater than 0. 0 means it's not using a table, and it's outputting the decoded frequency. It's exactly identical to this radio. So anything above 0, as you can see, the key is active. There's a button to turn the system on and off, a push-to-talk button, an indicator light saying that a signal is received from the speaker, the crypto key control panel, the decoded base frequency control panel, and the radio control panel, and then also you need a speaker and a microphone. And that is all in all how you set up the system. Then, for the actual system itself, obviously you need a battery for a power supply, you need the secure voice radio microcontroller available on the workshop, and you need some kind of radio antenna. I used the big one for all of my test sets because that one's the best possible conditions to make sure that I can get usable information from them. But yeah, that is my secure voice COMSEC radio. Thank you for your time.